thank you for coming along today to the final press conference for A New Beginning, a show on Saturday at the National Stadium here in Dublin, which will be co-promoted by Frank Warren and MGM, Matthew's Gym Marbella. It's a very, very exciting prospect for us to be involved with such a exciting new, well, I say new, Matthew's Gym's been around there for a good few years, but in terms of putting shows on, it's a relatively new concept and product, and we're absolutely over the moon to be involved with it, and especially to be over in Dublin and bringing big-time boxing back to what is a fantastic city, and a city that's produced some terrific fighters over the years. And I think with the collection of talent we've got up here today, we've got a safe future here in Dublin, and some fighters you can really, really be proud of and continue to look at their careers as they develop. I just wanted to start off by saying a big thank you to the team at the MGM. We've worked tirelessly to get this show on, and it's actually sold out. So near enough to set up. I think Anthony's just told me he's got about 100 tickets left. So just a bit of will and a bit of hard work and the right card and the right fighters makes you can obviously see that the appetite for boxing is definitely here. It's definitely been shown. We've got 2,000 people in on Saturday night, and very, very much looking forward to it. Also, a big thank you to Raymond Steele and BoxNation, BoxNation sponsor, for their continued support. Just wanted to introduce the guys on the table. Starting off to my far left, Anthony FITZGERALD, who's 17-7. He's looking to keep up recent form, and looking forward to seeing him. DECLAN, GERAGHTY, 7-1. Sean Turner, if I mispronounce it, I do apologise. It's Sean Turner's 4-0. I'll leave you two guys to talk about the main event. To my far right, it's Michael Rooney, 7-0. Pascal, who's the trainer of Steve Norman. And then we've got Tommy and Jamie Conlan. We'll talk about a bit more in a moment. But just wanted to introduce another man to my right hand side who, like I said, spearheaded a fantastic concept out in Marbella, and I'm delighted to be working with him on the outside of the ropes. We worked with my father, previously when he was boxing for my dad, and my dad was promoting him. But it's a pleasure to be working with Matthew and to have him here today. So say a few words.
Yeah, no, I suppose the main thing is that for Irish boxing has been so successful in the Olympics and all the amateur tournaments really, because not since Conlan and Nancy were really pushing boxing here in Ireland has there been a steady flow of professional shows. And I think any fighter, television exposure is crucial to any young fighter, any prospect in his development. And you can be the best fighter in the world, but if no one knows who you are, you're never going to become a household name. You're never going to be big fights that are going to generate big money and that can bring titles to Ireland. But hopefully on Saturday night it's fight one of several fights with BoxNation, and hopefully continue television exposure here in Dublin and the rest of Ireland as well. But even just back to November when Sky were here for my fight against Ole Sebastian Highland on that card, we had DECLAN GERAGHTY fought John Carroll in a great all-Ireland battle. John won it, he went on won the prize fighter, and now his career's flying. So it shows you the kind of significance that television exposure has for a young fighter's development and for how he progresses in his career. And the fact that BoxNation are coming here now, and it is a new beginning, hopefully it's a new beginning of big things, then it's a great thing. It's a real positive move for Irish boxing. And the other thing is, it's great that Pascal's here, and Stephen Ormond on the card. Steve Collins Jr. was mentioned on the card, he's injured now, Pascal the elbow, so fractured the elbow. Even Sean Turner's on the card, several MGM fighters. But the main thing is, really, we want to get rid of politics. We don't want people, he wouldn't be on that show, so he's not coming on our show, because it doesn't, really want Irish boxing united, not a civil war really, not trying to block each other. We want everyone getting behind each other and pushing the whole thing forward. So it's great that Stephen Ormond's on the card and Pascal's working with us as well. But like I said, looking at the card, you have Jamie Conlan from Belfast, Backboys, headline in Dublin, but I think Jamie's on the fringe of big things. He's 13-0, 8 knockouts, he's fighting a tough Mexican. the WBO in the Continental title. So I think it's a good platform for him to really showcase his skills. I think it'll be a good fight. I think that'll bring the best out of Jamie. He's fighting a Mexican, but he's called a Mexican himself. Even looks a bit like Antonio Margarito. But so yeah, looking for a good performance from Jamie on Saturday night, and basically the hope that everyone in Dublin and in Ireland gets behind it and pushes Irish boxing together, pushes it forward together, rather than being so divided all the time. But it should be a great night. It seems to be selling very well. We're hoping for a sellout on the night, and hopefully there's a lot of people tuning in and watch it on BoxNation as well. Because I think Francis has already spoken to the fighters, and probably best talking out to them really.
Yeah, just to go back to Jamie Conlan, he's been a guy that's been under the radar for a number of years, and he's been fighting for the vacant WBA Intercontinental Super Flyweight title. As Matthew said, we've seen what TV exposure can do. For example, we'll stick in the Super Flyweight division. Paul Butley was BoxNation's first champion, and a bit of a first world champion, and it'd be an interesting one to see how those two continue to potentially get it on later on this year. So if you Julio Cesar Avalos.
Yo espero que sea una gran pelea y voy a dar lo mejor de mí, vengo mejor preparado de lo que podría esperarse, pues. Estamos muy fuertes y esperamos una excelente función.
He feels very strong for this fight. He trained very hard and he hopes to take that title back to Mexico.
Thanks very much. Jamie Conlan. Actually, sorry, we'll start with your opponent and say the best for last. Jamie Conlan's opponent, Junior Granados.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos, gracias por su bonita presencia. Tenemos una bonita pelea, venimos bien preparados como siempre y muy contentos de estar aquí en este bellísimo lugar.
Okay, he's very happy to be here for this opportunity. He thanked to the promoter for giving him the opportunity to fight an international title. He will show he's the true Mexican, that Conlan is a false Mexican, and he will win on Saturday night.
We'll pass over to the false Mexican. Jamie Conlan, that's good.
Just very excited about the opportunity to have my own bill here in Dublin. I grew up watching the likes of Bernard Dunn top the National Stadium and how the crowd reacted to his exciting face, and hopefully Saturday night's going to be a very exciting fight. 8 weeks in Marbella was a tough time, and I'm ready to perform now, and I'm feeling a different fighter, I'm a hungrier fighter, and Junior Granados is going to feel the pain.
Thanks, Jamie. Like I said, it's going to be a terrific night on Saturday night, and looking forward to seeing you down there. But if you do have any questions, all the guys are here to answer.
Matthew, fantastic that the MGM have got their first televised show. How does it feel it's all come to fruition now?
Yeah, no, it's good because it's quite an ambitious move, really, in the sense that Jamie's first fight in Dublin is not big. His first one here, second, but it's not say a household name where I said I done was and was from Dublin, or even Andy Lee when he got top bill here, big momentum off the back of the Olympics and everything, and myself I boxed several times when I was undercards, John Dudley's undercards and RTE. So when I did fight, I think Europe Counts was the first time I went main event here, I had big momentum coming in. So this is a bit of a bolder move, but like I said before, it was great that when Sky were here in November, it was great for all the fighters on the undercard to get the exposure and push on in their careers, like I said, John Carroll and Keelan, and all the fighters that were boxed that night went on Sky. Everyone moved on from that show, but and obviously BoxNation back here in September with Andy Lee against Billy Joe Saunders, but it has to be bigger than one fight, bringing the show just the main event. So hopefully this is just fight one of a multi-fight that will go on and become a multi-fight agreement with regular 4, 5, 6 shows a year in Ireland. So then the fighters move on and they can build a fan base and they become household names, and then the fan base will grow. And from Jamie's point of view, boxing here, it's a big platform for him, and it's the biggest fight of his life so far, and he's kind of fringed his ready more or less. He's due to fight a world title at the final eliminated there at one stage, so he's there and thereabouts. Could be a big fight for Paul Butler. So yeah, it's exciting that we're here now. It's more exciting about where we can go from this, and hopefully this is it's not just a one-off. It's not just a one show, one of the type thing. You know, like I said, the fight in November was great at 3 Arena, but it hasn't. There isn't the next one. Big one's going to be Andy Lee, and that's on BoxNation. So you know, we want momentum. We want continued shows so that fighters can continually progress and build a fan base and build their name.
Quite Oscar De La Hoya-esque in your role here today. Are you enjoying it?
I know, my suit didn't even fit me. But when that's what I do. But yeah, you know, boxing's, I've always been intrigued with the business side of boxing. Still fight myself, and hopefully will do for another year or two. Who knows? You know, I'm certainly at the tail end. But the business side is always intriguing. I've always been inquisitive and asked questions. I've always sort of took control of my own business. So yeah, I've always been interested in that side of thing. And I think when boxing's such a big part of your life for so long, it's only natural really for you to stay involved in some capacity, whether it's as a trainer or a pundit, or you get involved in management and promotion. And at the minute, we're trying to keep our finger in a few pies and see which one suits us best.
Thank you, Matthew.
Francis, how did the link up with MGM come about from your end? Are you happy enough to work together for the future?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, if you see any entity in boxing, whether it be a gym or a manager or another promoter working hard and doing good things for boxing, you know, you want to be involved with them. You know, and you want good people around you to build a good base and a good solid foundation from where you can build fighters' careers. As Matthew said, he knows the business inside out. Maybe a bit too well for my life in front of, but he works hard on what he does down in Marbella. He's got a great team down there, and he's bred some great fighters. So to put that hand in hand with BoxNation, we want the best fighters, the most exciting young up-and-coming fighters on the channel, it's a natural progression.
And this is part of a kind of longer term project with Dublin with you guys in
I think it's
conjunction.
I think going forward, obviously this is going to be a successful Saturday. We set out to sell X amount of tickets, and no tickets have gone. So I'm sure it'll be very well received on the television. I know the guys have got a great performance and has got a good show, so can't say why not.
Yeah, I think the National Stadium holds an atmosphere that live boxing all over the world, and not many places that holds an atmosphere like the stadium. So I think there'll have people that probably haven't been there before. I've been in France, they'll be surprised on Saturday night. It's a full house, and Jamie's in a good fight. Jamie fights like a Mexican, hence the nickname. He's fighting another Mexican, so I'd say it should be a great atmosphere.
Matthew, from what you've seen of Jamie, how far do you think he can go?
It's hard to know, because obviously he hasn't put a foot on so far. Looking at the gym, a lot of fighters when he looks from what I've seen, he looks the part, and obviously he's got a boy who's doing so well in the amateurs. He'll be looking to come probably in a year's time, I would have thought, as well, after the Rio Olympics. But Jamie's gone really well. I certainly follow Paul Butler. That's a fight that would be confident that Jamie would win. Because Paul Butler's already won a world title. I lost it also, but he's top fighter. But I believe that Jamie is the style to beat him, definitely.
I've boxed on BoxNation a few times now, but the actually top doing Bill is special. But the dude in Dublin, which is like the home of Irish boxing, makes it even better, and I'm very excited. Not really as nervous as I usually am, but I'm just very excited. I feel like you couldn't do it in Christmas.
I meant to say top in the bill, not debut, so yeah, thanks for that, I appreciate it.
I think so. C- for homework.
No, it always appeals to me, I think it's a good player, a really good player. Rate him, and it's something that builds your career, kind of having another guy in your division who's at the same level. If you come together and play for a world title, or one of us on the world title first, it makes it all even more better. It adds space to it, but we're both speak the same language, so we're British and Irish. It's an instant rivalry. So it's definitely a fight that I've wanted from the start. I've always wanted. He's got the right record. He was managed well, and his fights were big well. So it's something I want. It's definitely something I want. The lads will decide when, that's all it is. That I want, they decide when.
It's been hot for years, Jamie, and on a different material. Did you ever feel he was avoiding you?
No, I didn't feel he was avoiding me. I felt he was able to dash straight. They were giving him perfect fights and making him look really good, and it learned him fights to get him up to world title level. And that's what you need. You always need to be a matchmaker. Any fighter can fight anyone, but if you have to fight him at the right time, that's how you look good and you get a good back and a good contest. But now I'm coming up behind him. He's had a defeat now, and he's going to have to rebuild. And as he's rebuilding, I'm building. So it's going to happen. It's just when. It's when the lads say it's going to happen.
You know, when that was being talked about that fight, I think around the same sort of times when with the situation with Stuart Hall, the opportunity for Paul to go to step up the division and fight for that one title came up. So yeah, I think it's definitely something that can happen down the line. But Saturday's about Jamie and Jamie making a statement.
Junior, we're talking about Jamie making a statement and fighting for world titles in the future. Are you impressed by the belts and the reputation?
Sí, claro, estoy muy impresionado por los cinturones y muy motivado, primero que nada. Y pues sí, la verdad, un gran respeto le tengo a Jamien y daremos una bonita pelea, ya verán.
Yes, of course he respects him, but those belts motivates him for Saturday fight.
Have you watched the tapes of Conlan fight, and what are your impressions of him as a fighter?
No, claro, lo me estudiamos algunas ideas que tiene y sí sacamos una conclusión de que podemos ganarle, ¿por qué no?
Yes, of course he watched him on the internet and he realized he can win this fight.
Just ask Stephen for after the disappointment of the loss to Flanagan, and as Brandon was saying, want to get back to world title level as soon as you can. Do you have plans to kind of fight out of Dublin, or are you still looking to come to America?
No, like it's, I want to 4 years. This is Dublin. I've always been away, so I want to be here now. On equal terms, like not been to be for. Let's be honest, like I'm going away all the time before we go for this. It's just a great experience, but great for a change. See what happens.
Can I add to that, Stephen at the moment, his current contract goes out in September. He's supposed to be going to America, following Spike's footsteps with Ken Casey, so we have a really good deal on the table. But I had a good conversation with Francis, so the group is something new because right before fighters, which is understandable, he's a weight fighter. There's been a lot of big fights, tough fights, come away with wins. His last fight was frustrating. The last night for the world title. So, his contract's up. Why go back, doing what he did before, back and forth to the UK. Then MGM, thanks to MGM, we actually are now, coming on just before we put pen to paper, and they're going to start with regular shows in Ireland. People get to see Steve Ormond. Steve Ormond is the world champion in the weight. He's a brilliant fighter, exciting fighter. We want to go watch exciting fights, whether it's for a belt or not. He's a very exciting fighter. They get to see him on the show next Saturday, how good he is, and then, hopefully we can sit down with Francis and the lads from MGM and we can work out a deal and we can put him on regular here in Dublin. But I do know the support is fantastic. Sorry, just one more thing I want to add. I think it's about time too, because we are a fighting nation. We're good at fighting. It's good at Conor McGregor out in Vegas. A lot of great fighters here today. Some fighters are very talented. There's other fighters who just will fight and come to fight. Declan GERAGHTY to me is a world champion in England. I think it's fantastic. Andy FITZGERALD comes to war. Doesn't matter who he fights. Comes to war because they're exciting fighters, exciting fights, and there's a whole bank of talent. And hopefully, down the road we can work more closely with him and prove to the world that the Irish fighters will be the best out there. Thank you.
How do you rate Terry Conlan's chances in his world title fight next week?
We haven't seen much of this guy, but I'm wishing you do the best. You know, I think he can do it because he's got a great engine. As I was saying, he's very fit. You know, but depends on kind of further squares or how it's him. So, I think he can do it. Okay. You know, he's got the talent for everything. So, all the best. You know.
And you'll be hoping to be first fans, yeah?
Yeah, that's the way, you know, we want to rematch. But no, he's a nice guy. He's actually one of the nicest boxers we know. He's a really nice down to earth guy, but I'm wishing him he'll do the business, and I think he will. You know.
Tom, it's only your 13th fight, your second tech round. Are you pleased that you're making good progress?
Yeah, it's the right step at the right time. You know, we were very keen. Had to get that first 10 round under our belt in February at championship weight, which we did, and obviously got a good performance in the win there. And then it was always the plan to push on for a title in the next fight. And Jason, my manager, and Frank Warren worked hard to get me the Intercontinental shot. So I've got it. I'm very pleased, and I'm very excited about where it's going to go from here. I'll get a good result on Saturday night, a good performance, and then I can push on and fight for bigger things down the line.
James, just wanted to ask, there's a lot of talk about the potential there for Irish boxing and the talent that's on the field and become a fighter for some establishments as well. Obviously, it's the headliner is kind of the main focus. And do you kind of thrive on any kind of pressure or expectations there for you to kind of deliver as the main man?
I've always thought if there's 100 people in the room or 1,000 people in the room, it doesn't matter. It's the same. A fight is a fight. It doesn't matter if you're top of the bill or at 6 o'clock. You're going to prepare the same for it. I've did everything I can. I would have did the same, but if it was a 6th rounder, I would have pushed myself the exact same. I'm thriving on the thought of actually being the top of the bill, being the headliner, because I've never had that before. But I've also boxed on big bills up in Belfast, so I know how to handle that kind of pressure of the large figures. So it's something I've been relishing. I'm really excited, more excited than I've ever been. I feel less people make me look world class because it's going to be a really exciting fight. I got a fight and I got a box. It's going to make me do both, but it all only matters what I do on the night.
Jamie, has much changed in your preparations since you moved?
It's a different.
How has it changed?
It's different over. As I said before, I feel like it's similar to the high performance team, where everything is set out for you. All you got to do is train and fight. Everything else is looked after. The lads look after you perfectly. Training ways, we do a lot more running and sprinting, and when it was with John Brady, we used to spar 5 days a week, which was a bit too much. Now we only do 3. It's good. I feel fresher. To be honest, I feel great on the weight as well. The strength and conditioning coach has kept me right down, kept the muscle and the strength. So I feel so healthy. I feel fit and ready to go. I'm just excited now to good Saturday.
How did that get?
Yeah, I've watched him. I think he's a really good fighter, very neat boxer, good come forward fighter, good head movement. He's going to give me some pass, but as I said before, it's not about what he does on the air, it's what I do. It's the only thing that matters. When I turn up, he's going to go.
Will you be demonstrating something of a different style? You have a new trainer as well, and if your whole training setup has changed, will you see something different?
He doesn't really change it as a boxer. You are who you are, but he adds dynamics to your game. He tweaks things, he's tweaked things that a new eye gets to see. He's worked on defence a lot more than before, so I've been trying things in sparring, and I'm happy with the results. I just got to do it now on Saturday night, and it's great.
Declan, you said you're going to try and move down to super featherweight. Are you feeling stronger at the lower weight?
Yeah, this contest at lightweight, it was scheduled for super feather. We thought we were going to do an 8 rounder, and this week I was told it was going to be a 6 round at lightweight. So if they were on super featherweight last week, I believe it's chatting to my man that angle that I didn't do featherweight when the big twitch going on, make the weight easy enough to do. So as long as I train and eat weight, we can do feather, super feather, lightweight. I've no problem with whatever weight Dan wants me for you.
Any more questions?
Sean, do you have a walk-in?
Keep that for the secret for the night.
Mason doesn't know.
Sean, not nice circumstances the way Paddy Highland had to pull out off the bill, but it's nice for you to get on the bill all the same. You're campaigning to get on.
Yeah, it's a hard circumstance, all right, but sure. On the night, I'm gonna share it with Paddy and whatever, and I'm glad to get this not on the show.
I would just like to say that me and Sean, the last time we boxed together, we won national titles in the stadium. So you have me and him, Brian Bennett, who've done a lot as an amateur in the last few years, you know, being up in the national stadium. So it's a great homecoming for the three of us who are boxing.
Where it all started.
We won under 23 titles, senior titles to get off a lot of national titles between me and him and Bennett. So it's a great homecoming for the three of us.
Declan, can I ask you, you probably felt like you never got really a fair shout maybe as an amateur in terms of your ability and the progress that you've never really, I suppose.
Yeah, the last time I won a national title, I broke my hand within 50 seconds of the fight, so I was out for the up-and-coming World Championships and the Europeans that time, and I was kind of pushed out of the door because of I didn't go to training too much because of the injury, and I was just pushed out, but I'm looking forward to going back. I won my first national title at 11 years of age. I think boy 2, boy 1, Burnett won and boy 1, so it's I had a great relationship with Billy Walsh up there. He looked after me like a father. He brought me on leaps and bounds in my boxing career, but I was getting stale up there, and then I was considering going pro. I went over to the States for a few months, came back, said I'd stay in the amateur team. I had a chat with Daniel, and then just feel what the conversation him and Mathew had together with me just made me feel comfortable. They looked after me between the two of them, and Anthony look after me. Like I'm still, all I do is worry about my training and everything else looked after me, so I'm still kind of mollycoddled in that sense. And now I'm in the right place with the right people.
You feel as though it's a kind of happy hunting ground to go back to rather than kind of going back to prove a point or anything like that?
No, I don't think about anything trying to prove. My amateur career stands for it. I think I've only lost 5 times in the national stage, and I've had between internationals and domestic fights, I've had to go to 300 amateur fights with 13 losses, and nothing to prove that. One thing I have to prove is to myself that I believe I can become a world champion. I believe Jamie's topping the bill here, which is great for all of us, but I believe by the end of next year, the year after, I'll be doing my own builds, and I'll have great more boxers on as well, and fun for big titles, hopefully.
Anto, you've had some great nights at the National Stadium as well. Are you looking forward to getting back?
Yeah, it's all great boxing stadium, no matter what. Had some great fights in the stadium. Had the trilogy twice with Robbie Long there, so it's all good to back.
Yeah.
And the crowd are really so like
You took a little holiday in the last few weeks. Are you gonna be feeling good?
the holiday is not the boxing. That was fun. So
Nice.
boxing first.
On that note, should we wrap it up? Thank you very much for coming down today, and the guys will be available for one-on-ones. I think BoxNation would like to do some head-to-heads as well, so the guys are coming off the top. Thank you very much.